Today, we've got a really special episode. So special that I've invited Jesse Dufresne, my original co-host, back to actually help facilitate this episode. One of the reasons why it's so special is because I'm going to be talking about adoption. Not just adoption and what that means for the person that was given up, but also what happens and the possibilities when you actually meet your birth family. Hey guys, it's Anthony with the Journey NYC podcast. We're here with episode 22. Episode 22 is monumental, couple reasons. It is the year that I got married, it is the day I got married, and it is also a very important episode for me because I've actually invited my original co-host, Jesse Dufresne, back in the house to co-host this episode with us. Hey!
Hey, buddy. How are you?
Hiya. I'm really good, and I wanted to say thank you so much for just being here. Today's topic, of course, is one of the fun ones that, everyone sort of hears about. We're talking about adoption. Today's spin, though, is we're talking about adoption and what that actually means when you're actually meeting or possibly, meeting and the outcomes that come with meeting your biological family.
Big stuff.
Incidentally, one of the reasons why we've asked, or actually I asked Jesse to be here is because we're talking about my adoption and we're talking about me finding my birth parents. So they're going to be joining us on the podcast today. And incidentally, this is the first time that we're actually seeing each other on a video live. So I'm sort of excited to see what comes out of it.
Oh, I didn't know this is the first time you're seeing each other.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen still photos, but it doesn't quite do anyone justice. So now we're actually going to go for the real thing.
Love it. Thank you for having me.
What have you been doing? Tell everybody what you've been up to.
Just living out in Colorado.
And you have the cutest dog ever.
Yeah, he's sleeping right now. But yeah, I've previous years I've been doing a lot more hiking than I have this year. But actually, I'm taking this week off, so I'll be out in the mountains for this week. So I'm looking forward to that.
Amazing. For a whole week?
Yeah, probably most of it. Yeah, weather right now is looking a little iffy. But I haven't been out yet this summer, so I'm probably going to be out there for most of the week.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess there's no wildfires right now, and there's not still a ton of rain and all of that stuff that was going on there.
Nope, it seems pretty good so far. I don't really know what's going on with the wildfires, but I think that was mostly Canada this year.
That is true.
We got a ton of rain, so it's been a different summer than what I'm used to here with all the rain, but it's been nice.
We need water. I support that. The Colorado River needs water. All right. So our guests are here.
Cool.
So let's do this.
Oh, hey guys.
Hi, Jesse.
Hi. Wow.
Hey guys, I'm Jesse. I'm Ant's friend. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
So Jesse, this is Kenny Dean and Kelsey Kwan from Honolulu, Hawaii.
Nice to meet you guys.
Wait,
say again?
Never seen you live and in person.
I know, right?
We were just saying before that you had never met Anthony live and in person before, so this is a first. It's an honor.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Anthony wanted me to just join along to kind of help, run the podcast side of things. But I think ultimately you guys probably have plenty to talk to and talk about, so I don't really need to do too much here. I think my job's going to be easy. But I guess maybe just to start things off for Anthony, I was just curious if you wanted to just say, kind of how you went about finding Kenny and what that process was, and maybe we can start there.
So I've always known, and I was when I was born, I was told that I was adopted, and I've always known that. All of the kids in our family are adopted. But I think I've always had a curiosity of who my parents are, more so because of the fact that whenever you fill out any type of government form, it's like, or medical form, it's always, do you have any health history? And I'm like, adopted, and that just shut the whole rest of the other questions down. So I always wanted to know, which incidentally, just so you know, is we've known each other for a week, and I still haven't gotten to that stuff yet, even though it's the first thing I wanted to know. So that shows you how much of a priority it was. So I actually was on 23andMe, and I've probably been on it for the last 4 or 5 years. And occasionally, 23andMe will spam my mailbox a lot and will, let me know that you have 15 new familial things, which generally tends to be twice removed cousin of something or second cousin twice removed. And I have no idea what twice removed means, but I was just like, okay, but it's very interesting because it maps everything out for you. But on this one particular time there was an aunt that had never popped up before, and it wasn't like a second cousin or like a third cousin. It was an aunt, and this aunt had someone else underneath that said first cousin, and I was like, oh, okay, well, let's see if they reach out to me. And then I left it because I didn't really know if my adoptive family, my biological family knew anything about me, and you're not told any of this. You have very basic knowledge, but you don't really have like any concrete information. So I had no clue whether this aunt was on my father's side or my mother's side. So I chose not to do anything. And then time went by, and more time went by, and then I thought to myself, I was like, no one's getting any younger here. And if I don't do something soon, the window for me to find out any of my health concerns is really getting small. So maybe I should reach out. So I wrote an email probably about 4 months ago to my aunt, trying to give a little bit of information, but not completely blowing it out of the park, because if no one knew, I didn't want to like upset anyone. I was adamant about, I don't want to ruin anyone's life. This is just out of curiosity. I'm just wondering. So I wrote this letter, and I waited. And then I waited. And then I waited. Until on August 3rd, I thought, well, if she's anywhere near my parents' age, she might not be of the technology, generation. She might not, maybe she missed the email. So then I went down the line. So this aunt has my first cousin. So I wrote to the first cousin, similar tone. I'm really hoping that, I'm so sorry to bother you. I was just wondering if your mother had anyone in her family that had, potentially had, put up a baby for adoption, during this year. To which, then I sent it off, and I was like, okay, well, she's got to be at least of an email age or technology age. And then I waited. And then I waited some more.
Well, it couldn't have been that long because we're still in the month of August. So
Well, but see, now I wrote to the aunt 4 months ago, and then I wrote to the cousin at the beginning of August.
I could see that would feel probably like a very long time for sure.
Well, because this all started, like the snowball started gaining momentum last weekend. Ish,
Yeah.
I guess.
It hasn't been long. You guys really just met.
Yeah, exactly. But we have lots of, we've had a lot to catch up with, and Kelsey, who's my half sister, and I don't know how you look so much like me, but I love your makeup. It looks fabulous. Thank you so much. And the hair is curling. It looks amazing. Anyway, Ari reached out on Saturday and said, yes.
No, that was Sunday.
Was it Sunday? So she reached out on Wait, was that the first time she reached back? Before she when she asked me for the birth date?
That was Sunday. We are officially
Okay.
1 week.
Okay, so on Sunday she asks me, that would possibly be my aunt, would, you know, your birth mother, but then she was asking for my birth date for confirmation. So then I gave her my birth date, and then the next email that came the next day was, my cousin, your half sister, wants to get in touch with you. How do we get in touch with you? And then I
Surprise.
think this is
Big
where I
surprise.
tagged Kelsey, and I'm like, and then what happened? Because you were on the other side doing something else while I was freaking out.
Yeah, so while Anthony was freaking out, how was it for you guys to kind of hear the news that Anthony had reached out and wanted to contact you?
This was a family affair. So actually, he reached out to Ari on her birthday. That was the exact.
Wow.
Yeah, he sent the message,
and she told me she turned off the phone and threw it because stop it.
Can you say that?
Oh, maybe not.
So she actually didn't know.
She said she had a shadow of a thought about it, but she really wasn't sure. She needed to confirm that it was actually me.
Oh.
That's why she reached out to Tristan and Tiana. She didn't even come to Kelsey. She went to her other two cousins.
Okay. Okay, so she went to her two cousins after her birthday, after she threw the phone.
Right.
I hope I meet this girl one
I'm
day
not
soon.
quite sure like where she got the idea to pick up the phone again. But her first thing was I gotta talk to my cousins, not her mom, not her mom's sister, or your mom. It was our cousins. So
Well, you said it was a family affair. You go lateral first before you go up the line.
yeah, it was. So they talked, and then Tiana and Tristan's mom jumped in and was like, something's going on. You need to tell me what's going on. And that turned into, I got a message. Well, Auntie Chris called me, Ari's mom. She's calling me. She's like, so we're having dinner on Sunday? I said, okay. She's like, your mom probably won't want to come, so we'll just have dinner. It'll just be us. Like, okay. So I didn't tell mom about it because obviously when she says, mom won't want to come, okay, mom's not coming. So we went to Sunday dinner. And we were just hanging outside, talking story. And my cousin Tiana goes, so this is kind of an out of the blue question. She's like, okay. And she's like, so what do you know about the baby that mom gave up? Okay, a lot going off, and I'm thinking like, what do you know about the brother that I don't know about? So I was like, oh, well, I know he was born, he's 15, mom was 15, so doing the math, he's 13 years older, and he was born in August. She's like, okay, well, Ari got this message. So she hands me Ari's phone, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, are you for real? And I started crying, and it was a lot at one single moment to be like, I've known about you, but here you are, like you do exist, you are here. So we're like, okay, what do we do? Birthday. We need to confirm this. I mean, we already have a DNA, so we know he's related to Auntie Chris. Let's get moving. So we already literally we were texting you, we were messaging you from dinner that Sunday. I was like, okay, his birthday. We need his birthday. And then at 5 o'clock the next morning on Monday, she was like, she sent a screenshot of your next message. And I looked at it and I said them, it's him. This is him. This is it. So I'm like, okay, what do we do? What do we do? So we're going back and forth on text message, street message, and we decided, okay, should mom reach out to him? Should I reach out to him? What is the best way to do this? So I actually messaged you on Instagram. Wouldn't you know, it denied me. I was like, how am I supposed to? So I had messaged Ari, is like, you need to get his contact information. I can't reach him right now. So that's when you messaged back, oh yeah, here's my number, here's my email. Reach out to me anytime. I was like, okay. And then I text you, well, okay, going back, after we got your birth date, I had called mom right after. So this is at
6 o'clock in the morning.
6 in the morning.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like,
This family doesn't sleep, do they?
Kind of like you.
and we know.
Yeah, but you know what? I do an all-night shift, so I'm always up at night.
Oh, okay. Anthony's up early in the morning, but also very little sleep from what I gather.
Yeah, which is good, right? Because that's when we tend to get
That's
our
when we
2 hours of conversation in.
Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, so called mom and I'm like, it's that time of the year again. She's like, yeah. She's like, I didn't really think about it, but yeah, it is. I was like, yeah. So I was just wondering, like, what did you say his birthday was? And she's like,
Oh wait, so
Very-
you
very
got my
sneaky.
birthday, but you didn't know it was my birthday.
so I knew I had 2 dates, which were wrong. But I needed mom. She's like,
Fair.
okay, this is it. I'm like, okay. I'm like, mom, have a great day. I'll call you later. We'll talk later. And then
And you didn't think anything was up?
No. Well, because
It is 6 o'clock in the morning. Never mind. We'll give you that bye.
yeah, thank you. But since the day you were born, August 30th has been my day of mourning. And I take the time. That day is mine because I need to stop and think about you. So it wasn't unusual for her to know that it was that time of year.
Yeah,
she may
sure.
not have the specific date, but she knew this happened every year.
Sure.
Okay,
then
well,
So
I'm
at this
going to
point-
try not to cry at this point, but that's
So wait, so
really
at this point,
touching.
she still doesn't know.
No.
Wow.
That's Monday morning.
She's a good
So
secret.
we've established that Kelsey's a very sneaky and good at.
I was really torn. I mean, we're still in like less than 24 hours that we had known.
Wow.
That I had. But I was really like, this is their moment. My mom has been holding on to him since she had him. Am I the one who should be talking to him? Or, I feel like she should be the one to be doing this. And I was talking to my cousins, and they're like, mom's gonna need you. So I was like, okay, I'll reach out to him, kind of gauge to see where he's at about this. So I had texted him that day, and he tells me, I'm in a meeting. I'll text you later. I was like, okay, he's cool. He's collected. He's cool as a cucumber. And then he finally did message me. And the rest has been absolutely wonderful since then.
It's a whirlwind.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So Kelsey told you that.
She texted me and said, let's have dinner. And my sister we're caring for a 95-year-old aunt. So I'm there every night between 10:30 and 9 a.m., which is why I'm up all night. And so that night, Monday night, my sister Chris was coming over to watch Auntie. And so I said, yeah, I could do dinner. So I said, yeah, okay. And then later she called and she said, I need to talk to you. And I went, from wrong with the grandson.
No, she was trying to cancel on me. And I said, so we're on for dinner. And she's like, I'm kind of tired. And I was like, no, I need to talk to you. I'll bring dinner over. So between that, I'm texting Anthony and telling him, okay, I'm going to take dinner over. And he's like, he's asking me like, okay, so how is she? It'll be okay. I'm just going to tell her tonight. Like, okay. So yeah, we did meet for dinner. And I sat her down and I showed her what they showed me, Ari's message. And she kind of looked at me.
Like, I didn't understand what that was. Yeah. It's got to be the last thing that I ever expected to happen. But then she pulled up a picture of him and she put it in my face and said, Mom, this is your son. And it all suddenly got real. After seeing his picture, I honestly, that's the only thing that I remember about that night. This is your son.
Wow. It's amazing. So it's only been a couple days. And it must be overwhelming and a whirlwind of emotions. Anthony had said something to me recently. In the short time that you've known him, you've noticed some similarities with him and his grandfather. Is that right?
Yeah, my father.
Okay.
Seems much like my dad in that he's a businessman. He has the gift of gab. My dad could stand up and do an extemporaneous speech, no problem. Looking at his pictures, it's the way he holds himself. There's just so much, and every niece, every sister, they have all said, I see Papa in him. I wish my dad could have gotten a chance to know him. I think he would have been so proud.
So, Aunt, what were your thoughts? You had shared with me about just kind of growing up and wondering, some of those things that you had talked about earlier with kind of knowing that you had these attributes or these qualities and wondering where they came from. How does it feel to kind of get an idea where that came from now?
It's been really surreal. I think, there's a lot of, so for me is even while Kelsey and I were texting and everything, there was a lot of anxiety for me. And I called you that night because I was like stressed out. I didn't know if I could go through it. I knew I wanted to go through it, but it was everything, as I explained, literally within 48 hours, just like started to rip. And I was like, and the next thing is, my mom is supposed to find out. I'm supposed to find out who she is. And I was overwhelmed, not just because I wanted to meet her, but I think for me it was multiplied by what's the situation. It's will they will they acknowledge you? And then it's also too is it becomes, and I have a husband, so what's that gonna be like? Because so I felt like I was going through coming out 2.0, and then and then for me is it was I wasn't sure because I knew they had put me up for adoption, so I'm like, well, it's an Asian family, maybe they're Catholic, maybe I'm like, maybe it's like not, it's they're gonna be super religious or whatever it is. So like my head was going at all kinds of speeds, and friends said go meditate, go take a shower. I was like not helpful. Um, but if I didn't follow through on it and speak to them, then it would have been, it was, I probably, my anxiety would have just kept me up all night anyway. And then it would have gotten 3 times as large and become the three-headed, monster under the bed. But for me, is I think to answer your question is, I've never understood where I get some of the things that this whole nature versus nurture thing. My parents are not musically inclined at all, and I'm a musical theater actor. They're not really great. They were never. My adopted parents were never really great movers, and I can dance. I absolutely did not want to do things the way my family wanted me to do things. I always sort of saw other opportunities at every different area and different ways to reach out, or different projects like this podcast, which was Jesse's idea, by the way. But I didn't know where it came from, the entrepreneurial spirit, because that's not really my family. They play it very safe in some respects. And those things, once I spoke to Mom, it was really obvious where those things came from, because I cannot imagine what it's like to be 15 and to have to give up your own child and to do it by yourself. And I just can't imagine that. And yet there are things in my life that, that I just never knew where I found strength, or where I had the hard-headedness to just not, give up and keep going.
That's
So
me.
sorry. Now there you go.
And he's saying
I
that's
am
her.
hard-headed. I'm very hard-headed, and I do things the way I want to.
So I have you to blame for Anthony's hard-headedness. Finally, my own retribution.
Now you know.
Now I know.
You know what? You not only do you look like you belong to us, you totally act like you belong to us. I mean, because I don't know if you know, Jess, but my family is 50 plus.
Oh, wow.
I have there are 4 siblings in my family, and then there are a ton of cousins. And so I don't think he realized what he could be possibly getting into, because they're all ready to mug him. They all want to, can we blow up his email? What can we do? Can we call him? Can we text him? It's like they are so excited that he is back.
Sounds so much like you, Aunt. How does that make you feel?
I mean, I'm very touched, and I could not be more blessed with this particular interaction. I'm excited to know them. I want to know more about my grandparents. Mom had told me during one of our first conversations that her parents had offered to adopt me themselves, which I just thought was the most amazing thing back then for parents to be willing to do.
But you know what? Back in that day, that's what families did. I know a number of children who were adopted by their grandparents.
Oh,
So it was just the thing that people were doing, because what are we going to do with all of these unmarried pregnant girls, right? So yeah, there are a number of women that I know that had their parents adopt their children. I refused because I didn't want you as my brother. You were my son. I did not think I could treat you like a brother. I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be your mom. So adoption was the next best thing.
I just give you so much credit. I've said this before, is when I anytime I've ever thought about meeting my biological parents, I've always said it doesn't negate my actual parents. It doesn't negate anything that I've been fortunate enough to have been raised with. But what I wanted to extend to them was always just gratitude, and to say thank you for, again, just giving me the opportunity to have the life that I've had. Fate, karma, whatever it is, like, I think it's just worked out the way it's supposed to work out. And I just feel very, very blessed that, is Mom, you had the strength, to do it, because, like, I can only imagine how hard that was.
I just knew that somebody else could give you a better life than I could. I wasn't able to provide for you at that time. And so I had to give it to somebody else. I owe your mom and dad a great debt of gratitude, because they did such a fine job. And I hope to be able to thank your mom one day. I could not have produced a son that would be as successful as you are, because you would have been raised with a single parent, and without I will say you would have had a very strong family foundation, but it just was not possible then. I mean, you know what? When I had Kels, I was 28, and being a single parent was still not acceptable. So in 13 years, nothing changed.
What did it feel like for you, Kels? Like, going from being a only child to, like, hi, there's me.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Loud and proud. It was, honestly, it still feels so surreal. I mean, I can look at you now and be like, this just makes so much sense now. But I found out about you like right out of high school, and it broke me to think that my mom, this person that I thought I knew, had this whole other life before me, and then it was like, well, that makes sense. It's August. And she just kind of retreats and she takes her time. And then it was like, okay, his birthday is done. And then she kind of comes back out again. But all of that time, like, it just, everything was like, hey, he exists. He's out there. She was really, it took her a long time to go from I guess being really scared. I don't know if he's alive. I don't know if he's dead. And it took her a long time to get to the point to be like, if he wants to find me, I'm here. She signed up for Ancestry, and I know it was just because we were doing it, but I knew in the hopes, she did it in the hopes of finding you, giving you I guess a pathway to her, and hopefully her pathway to you. But knowing all of this, and then finally being able to be like, he's here and being able to talk to you, like, it's surreal, but it's like, this is how it was supposed to happen. The timing, like, it's perfect. And I get to talk to you every day, and I'm just like, this makes sense. this
It is. There, Jesse, I don't know if I told you, there are so many things that make it, you know, just one of those things that you just have to say, okay, this is the way it's. My sister lives 5 minutes away from mom's house, like around the corner. And through that, this is now Monday and Tuesday when I have yet to talk to anyone. And my sister Jill is, tell them I live in Hawaii. Tell them I live in Hawaii. And I'm like, I haven't talked to them yet. And she's so excited. She's like, I'm so excited. I'm like, okay. So like, I think on Wednesday she found out that they lived around the corner. And she's like, really? I know exactly where that apartment building is. I have to pass it when I pass. And so she goes, I know exactly where that. And then she was so excited, and I was still in shock. And I was like, so yeah, it's been sort of a whirlwind, to discover new family. And I have another young kid that I can spoil, since the other one just graduated. So it's good.
You
Want to see him?
both should know that Anthony is going to be sending you care packages on a regular basis. So
I'm very good at care packages.
he's very good at those.
Okay, well, you let me know when you need more nuts.
Yeah. I think they may go in a circle, so I end up getting them somehow too. He sends them to me.
Good.
Yeah, I get some Hawaiian treats once in a while.
Good.
No, I already got a taste of it.
Yes. He sent these flowers.
Yes.
I
Beautiful.
got beautiful
And this sleigh.
And just totally
Beautiful.
out of the blue. But I didn't tell mom that he had sent flowers, or he was planning. He was trying to reach her that day. It was kind of chaotic. He's like, she's not answering her phone. Why isn't she talking to the florist? I just needed to get dropped off. But
because she was texting me while the florist was emailing me that she's not answering the phone, and I was like, she's perfectly fine. She's chatting with me right now.
I have a phone number that's very close to Pacific Life. So I don't phone unless I know who it is.
Pacific Life, the insurance company?
Uh-huh. They are one area code. The area code for them is 808, is 800, and mine is 808.
Oh,
so
you
I
must get calls all the time.
Yeah. Because they print it in the smallest print that they can find.
That an 8 looks like a 0.
Exactly. Especially the 8 with the 0 with the slash.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I guess so. I never even thought about that.
Yeah. So I get their calls all the time, and I just don't answer anymore unless I know who it is. So then she's texting me and saying, call Ray, and with a phone number. And I'm like, well, who's Ray? You know? And so she doesn't answer me. And then Ray calls me and says, oh, I have a floral delivery, but I left your house and went to Waikiki. I didn't want to leave it in front of the door. And I'm thinking, Kelsey must be sending me flowers, because who else would send me flowers? I mean, and honestly, I've never gotten flowers here before. So, right? Yeah, I used to get them when I worked, but I'm retired now. So it was totally by surprise. This basket is so huge. When Ray brought it, he said, "Can you use two hands? It's really heavy."
Something tells me that's not the last of the flowers you'll be getting now.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
beautiful.
It's so it's so overwhelming that he's just like us. You know, I mean, my father sent roses to my mother like all the time. He would always bring roses home from us. Yeah. Birthday, Christmas. I mean, he just was like that.
They could be not talking and she would still a dozen roses.
Yeah.
I just said, I was telling Kelsey when we were on the phone while you were ignoring Ray. I was giggling because I told the florist, as I said, he goes, well, what should we send? And I said, you have to make it grand. I said, make it as big as you can make it. I said, because I wanted to hide her head by the time she has to pick it up. And he did. So
Yeah,
He did. He did a good job.
The camera does not do it justice. It literally like covered her entire counter.
Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. And it's all pink in honor of Barbie.
they were seeing Barbie. I forget who said that. Oh, I think you had told me the day before that you were seeing Barbie. And I was like, just make sure it's pink.
So
just make sure it's pink.
I'm going to ask you a question. So when you said before that it was mostly just the health concerns, but what else prompted you to reach out originally?
I mean, it was absolute curiosity. I mean, I've always wondered. In my head, I as a kid, I always thought, well, maybe Don Ho's my father. Because I like to sing and dance and this and like I thought maybe I'm from the Ho family. Maybe I literally would make up these stories in my head. Like I was a creative kid. Yeah. So I always sort of wondered that, and I didn't. There have been I was just curious, and I thought that if I don't find out sooner rather than later, I might never get the chance, and that was more scary than not doing anything, and just sitting there. I mean, because I figured, look, I waited already for a while, and no one's reaching out to me, so either no one knows about me, which really made me nervous, because I was like, if no one really knows, because I know when I looked on my family tree and I saw names that I didn't recognize, I'd be like, who's that? So
there's a lot of them actually been tested, so you don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and then Mom put me in touch with my father as well, and that was a really nice conversation as well on Thursday. It's very different, and I think growing up in the family that I grew up in with the cultures, primarily Japanese culture, is I could sense so much of what I grew up with just in the conversation. So while it's a very different situation, I won't go into it too much, is compared to what Mom's family is like. As I said, I didn't go into this to wreck anyone's life. I didn't want to tear apart someone's life because, just because I wanted to. It didn't make sense.
I had that same fear because I never knew whether you knew you were adopted.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of hesitation, so even if you find him, are you going to tell him? Because what if he doesn't? It was never my intent to blow up your world either.
Yeah. And you did, but in a totally different way.
How did she do that? She didn't do that.
Oh, yeah. Today is actually a week since it sort of all started. It's been a week, and I was laughing, and I was laughing with Kelsey as well, because when I had the cockamamie idea on Tuesday, I think I talked to you, Jesse, and I said, I really want to document this. One, because the emotions are raw and they're honest. And but the process is so, it's magical that that it's magical in its own respect. And Jesse's always been the perfect balance, because he's like, let's not go there yet. Let's calm down. You guys haven't talked yet. And but then also is asking you to be a part of our podcast and to talk this through, and knowing that this was going to be the first time, at least for me, the knowledge that this is going to be the first time that we actually saw each other live on video, what that was going to feel like. I just think that I couldn't have gotten any luckier to have fallen into this family, and so much of it, my sister says, like, it all makes sense. This makes complete sense, because you're not anything like what we were raised with, and so it's just super interesting how she realizes that very early on. So
Kenny, do you have a sense that your relationship with Aunt's birthday is going to change moving forward
Oh
now?
yeah, yeah. I'm not mourning anymore. I'm celebrating. This has
there will be no more mourning.
no. There will be no more mourning. No, I don't have anything else to grieve. My son is back. I I say that every day. My son is back, because I kind of don't really believe it. It's still so new, and I have to remind myself that this is really, really happening. I could I couldn't have even imagined what it would be like. Um, I just I hoped I always hoped that someday we would see each other, but I've probably seen you on stage.
Likely.
Yeah, just not known, right? But
Yeah.
so for you to, it's like you popped out of a bottle. Here you are. I I can't believe it. And in my memory, you were a baby in an infancy. So to find a full-grown man with a career and a husband and all of the great things in life that you have, it's like, well, now what? Because I have I have nothing to offer you except for love and support. I can't help you financially. I can help you emotionally, I hope. But really, I told Kels, I said, I can't even cuddle you. But I'm gonna try, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
He's very cuddly.
Absolutely.
You might be surprised when you meet him. He's very easy to cuddle. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, those are some of that's just coming, right? We don't know when we'll ever see each other in person. And you know what? That's okay too. Um, we waited so long for this to happen that another couple of years is okay. It just is like, if it's meant to be, it will be. It's all gonna turn out the way it's supposed to.
It will. I'll be there before 2 years.
Okay, cool. You're gonna get mobbed. I just have to warn you,
Totally fine. Totally fine. Can we introduce people? Do you think my new nephew wants to say hi to everybody?
Sure.
He's been asking.
Yeah.
Hello.
He's been standing at the doorway waiting.
Oh.
Cody. Yeah. Here.
Come on, babe. Oh. Wash your face. He's been eating. You know what? We went to Zippy's this morning. He had a meat lover's breakfast, and then he needed a grilled cheese and fries.
Okay.
Then we went to the bakery.
Well, luckily he's growing taller than you or I.
Yeah. He's 5'4.5" right now. Come on, grandson.
Hi. Hi, Cody.
Uncle. Hi, Uncle.
Come on. Let's make room.
Nice to meet you, Cody.
Nice to meet you too.
That's Uncle Jesse.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 6th.
Awesome.
Wow. So what does it feel like for you, Cody, to have a new uncle? I mean, I know you have lots, but
I actually don't have lots. I only have one actual uncle besides you, and I have another one, but he's my great uncle.
oh,
We call my brother is his great uncle, so he calls him Grunkle. So
I love it.
you use Gunkle.
that is amazing.
Grunkle.
Grunkle.
So
that works.
Yeah, he's always like, "Hi, Grunks." You know?
This is amazing. Thank you so much for choosing to be a part of this. It was so funny, Jesse, before the episode, and even yesterday, Mom was texting, I don't know if I can talk for an hour. And I thought to myself, we've talked twice for 2 hours plus. I think you'll be fine. And then Kelsey and I talked for like an hour and, whatever, sometimes 2 hours. And it's like, I'm like, you guys will be fine. I'm so nervous. Like, why?
Well, you guys have done great.
This is
everyone likes to talk.
Never listened to a podcast except for yours. And so I didn't know what to expect. And to be honest, I watched it on YouTube and I centered it so that I could only see your face. Sorry, Jesse, but I just I wasn't.
Not at all.
I mean, I was listening to the content, but I was only looking at you.
Of course.
I didn't look at anybody else.
I think that's like what you brought to our world. You kind of expanded our world. I was telling Mom, there was one day you guys were talking and I'm calling her and she's like, I'll call you back. Yeah, I want to talk to you. And she's like, I'll call you back. I'm talking to Auntie. I was like, okay. So I called her back to work and she's like, I'll call you back. Why? She's like, I'm talking to Auntie. I was like, okay. So finally I get a chance to talk to her. And I was like, geez, Mom, you're talking to him this whole time? And she's like, yeah. She's like, are you jealous? Jealous. You know what? When they say that your heart expands when new love comes in, a mom has a baby or a second baby, it's like, no, like this, your heart just grows more room. And this, you did that. You're expanding our world now. And her eyes are open and she's she's wonderful. You can just see in your eyes as well, but in hers, just the love that this new love that she's.
Well, you know what? I had
Um,
all that love was bottled up for 54 years. And now,
Hey, I'm not 54 yet.
well, well, almost. You know what?
Oh,
I carried you for 9 months, so it's been 54 years for me.
okay, yes, true.
Okay.
That's true.
So
Yes.
Listen to your
but
mother, Anne.
it was all bottled up. Now it has someplace to go.
Well, I feel the same way. Like, I always like having a sister. I like having another sister. I love having nieces and nephews. So, that works. Thank you, just for being a part of the podcast. I mean, if this story, as surreal and magical as it is, gives one person the courage to try, and they have half the experience that I've had, then it's worth it. It's like there are people out there that wonder, and there are people that out there that both sides wonder, and they never get that opportunity. And I feel very blessed that I have this opportunity to know all of you.
We feel the same.
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
Is that a good way to
Thank you for
end things?
making it easy to do your podcasts.
I just hope you guys realize this is the beginning of Anthony sending so many gifts and love, and he is in my life. I'll take a couple seconds here. He has been such just a warm and loving and kind person, and a great friend. So he is very special, and I'm so happy for him to have met you guys, and that I'm proud of you for taking the step to do that and reach out, because that took a lot of courage. And I'm going to try my best not to cry myself. But you really showed a lot of courage, and I'm just so happy that your mom was there to answer on the other side of the call.
Yeah, I think we got very, very lucky. And as Kelsey said, it just worked out the way it's supposed to work out. So.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you got to share it with us, because it means that much more
Pleasure.
to have you here.
It's an honor.
Anybody is contemplating it, go for it. Because it can be as good as this. And this is the best thing. So if you even wonder, go for it. Try it.
And be respectful, because you might stress out a cousin a little bit. Or your aunt could ignore you, but like.
We'll leave it with the email. I like the email story.
True.
That works out.
True.
yeah. But really, everything up to this point has, like, oh, that's why this happened the way it needed to. I mean, we're trying to calculate the timing of when you could have emailed Auntie, and had it been a month earlier, like, we were going through so much, and it was just like it was the perfect time for him to come forward, and learning how to take care of Auntie, and like, Auntie was needed at this moment. He couldn't have timed this any more perfectly than he did.
A month ago, we were in the hospital with the aunt that we care for. And it was so chaotic that nobody could figure up or down. And then we went from her taking care of her part-time to now, if she doesn't get 24-hour care at home, then we're going to put her in a facility. So it's like Anthony provides the perfect distraction from all of that. It kind of grounds you. It okay, you know, put your feet on the ground. Not only you're gonna have to deal with this too, and it's just the most wonderful distraction.
I'm so
Well,
glad
I'm
you guys
happy to be a
meet.
distraction.
Yeah, it was getting to be a daily grind. So you know what? This is just so welcome. I still I still have to remind myself that this really, really did happen. Um, and it's just, I think, getting used to it because it's only been a week. And it, you know, I haven't had you front and center. So now that you can be, um, it's terrific.
Well, thank you so much again. And Cody, thank you for showing your face on a podcast. We really appreciate it. Now you can
Thank you
tell all
for
your
having.
friends. Oh, it's been our pleasure. And Mom and Kelsey, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a pleasure, like, seeing you live for the first time.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. Jesse, thank you for agreeing to facilitate all of this.
Of course, it's an honor. Nice to meet you both.
You too, Jesse.
Thanks, Jesse, for finally bringing us together for the first time.
I had nothing to do with that. That was all Anthony.
All right.
So, Anne, you're gonna call.
I will.
gonna-
I will call you. I will
Okay.
call you guys after we're done. But on behalf of Jesse Dufresne and Anthony Luke-Akagi, we want to say thank you for joining us for episode 22 of the Journey NYC podcast.
Aloha.
Bye.